Tonight, more than a week after a body was found inside an impounded Tesla registered to the singer who goes by the stage name David, Los Angeles investigators identifying the remains as 15-year-old Celeste Rivas.
It builds up to the big moment where she died in the back of my mind. Like, I didn't kill her physically, but in the back of my mind, she died.
How does a celebrity's car end up hiding one of the darkest secrets Los Angeles has ever seen? That's the question on everyone's mind right now. Because when investigators popped open the trunk of David's Tesla, they didn't just find a shocking crime scene. They opened a door to something much bigger, much stranger, and possibly much more dangerous than anyone expected. And just when people thought it couldn't get any worse, another body turned up. Different car, different location, same city, same day. What investigators discovered next about tattoos, missing fingers, and David's disturbing obsession with death has left fans horrified and detectives scrambling. The coincidences are piling up so quickly that some are wondering if they're coincidences at all. This is the story of the David case. How one rising star went from romanticizing violence in his music to becoming the center of one of the most chilling investigations in recent memory. It all began with what should have been a routine tow. A Tesla with Texas plates was hauled into a Hollywood tow yard. Nothing unusual for a city filled with luxury cars. But when workers noticed an overwhelming odor seeping from the vehicle, everything changed. Inside the front trunk, detectives discovered human remains. Not just remains, severely decomposed remains. The condition was so advanced that officials couldn't even determine the victim's age or ethnicity. Experts suggested it had been months, not weeks, since the person had passed. The victim was a woman, described as small in stature with dark wavy hair, wearing jewelry and casual clothing. Details that should have painted a picture of a normal life suddenly reduced to fragments inside a car trunk. And the car, registered to David Anthony Burke, better known to the world as David, the rising artist behind songs that millions had streamed without realizing how eerily close his lyrics were to reality. For many, this was the first sign that David's dark persona wasn't just an act. But as shocking as that discovery was, it wasn't the only one. Because across town at almost the exact same time, another body was found. While investigators were processing the Tesla, another team of detectives was called to a different tow yard. This time, the vehicle was a burned-out Honda Civic. At first, firefighters had written it off as just another car fire in Los Angeles. But when the family of a missing woman traced her last known location to that very car, police checked again. Inside, they found the second set of remains. Think about the timing here. Two women, discovered the same day, in two different vehicles, both deaths treated as homicides. What are the odds? Officials rushed to assure the public that the cases weren't connected. But skeptics immediately pointed out how convenient that explanation sounded. Both victims were young women. Both were hidden in sidecars. Both were uncovered in ways that felt sloppy, rushed, and careless. Even more unsettling was the detail investigators found on one of the victims, a missing finger. And that's when this story shifted from tragic to truly chilling. One victim was missing her right index finger. To most, it might seem like a random, gruesome detail, but to fans of David and his girlfriend Celeste, it struck like lightning. Both David and Celeste had tattoos on that exact finger, matching tattoos that read a single word: "Sh." Online, speculation exploded. Was this a deliberate message? A calling card? A taunt? Fans debated whether the missing finger was an eerie coincidence or evidence that whoever was responsible wanted people to draw the connection. Some argued it symbolized silencing the truth, a literal "sh." Others thought it was an attempt to erase Celeste's memory by destroying something symbolic they had shared. And then came the darker theory, that David himself orchestrated it, blurring the line between his lyrics, his obsessions, and reality. But to understand why people believe that, you have to look at David's disturbing relationship with death long before this case even began. David didn't just sing about heartbreak. He sang about death, violence, and obsession over and over again. His breakout hit Romantic Homicide wasn't just a catchy title. Fans now look back and wonder, was it foreshadowing? In interviews, David admitted he had an addiction to disturbing content online, so intense that he had to force himself to stop watching it. He even described his fascination with gore as something that gave him pleasure. And then there were the stunts. On tour, David was known to roll up to hotels with a coffin, claiming it was part of his branding. At the time, people brushed it off as edgy marketing. In hindsight, it looks much darker. This wasn't just an artist dabbling in shock value. This was someone who built his identity around death, who turned gore into a persona, who blurred the line between art and reality until it became impossible to separate the two. Which is why so many people now believe the sloppiness of this case isn't random. It's part of a pattern we've seen before in chillingly similar stories. Criminal experts say there are usually two reasons cases like this happen. The first is inexperience. Someone acts on impulse, panics, and leaves behind obvious evidence. A rookie mistake. That could explain why David's Tesla ended up in a tow yard with a body still inside. Careless, thoughtless, amateur. The second explanation is far darker: arrogance. Someone who's done it before, who's gotten away with it, and who believes they're untouchable. That overconfidence makes them sloppy. They stop covering their tracks. They think they're above suspicion. So which one is it? Fans are divided. Some believe David simply spiraled out of control and made the kind of mistakes only a first-timer would. Others fear this was just the latest in a string of horrifying acts, that this case might only be scratching the surface. But if that's true, why haven't police made any arrests? Despite everything, the remains in his car, the tattoo connection, the public theories, David has not been arrested. Instead, authorities describe him as cooperative, but cooperative doesn't mean innocent, and the lack of official movement has only fueled speculation. Fans are furious online, asking how anyone could stay so calm if they had nothing to hide. One common question keeps surfacing: why hasn't David shown the kind of shock most people would? Imagine being told someone's body was found inside your own car. Wouldn't you react with disbelief? With outrage? With horror? Instead, David has stayed quiet, composed, and strangely detached. And that silence is only making the public more suspicious. Some even argue that investigators might be holding back, keeping evidence private, because they're building a bigger case. If that's true, then what's happening behind the scenes could be even darker than what's been revealed so far. And when you step back and look at the details, the entire case feels less like reality and more like the plot of a horror film. Fans were quick to compare the David case to movies like Saw and Silence of the Lambs, not because of Hollywood dramatization, but because the real details were that unsettling. The possibility that Celeste endured weeks of torment before her death, the missing finger and tattoo connection, the decomposed body hidden in a luxury car trunk, another body found in a burned vehicle across town. These aren't coincidences. At least, that's what people online believe. To them, this looks staged, almost theatrical, as if someone wanted the discovery to mimic a horror movie. And if that's true, then it raises an even scarier question. Who was the intended audience? Was this meant as a twisted message to fans? A performance art piece gone too far? Or was it something much more personal, designed to send a chilling message to the people closest to David? Because if this really is just the beginning, then what comes next could be even worse. Right now, the investigation is still wide open. Families of the victims are demanding answers. Fans are demanding accountability. And David continues to insist he's cooperating, even as more evidence piles up around him. Theories online suggest everything from a secret double life, to jealous rages, to occult symbolism hidden in tattoos and lyrics. Others point to the music industry itself, asking whether labels and managers ignored red flags in favor of profit. Meanwhile, every day without an arrest deepens the sense that something isn't being told. Either investigators are sitting on evidence we can't see, or the truth is so complicated that it can't be explained in a single headline. For now, the only certainty is that two women lost their lives in horrifyingly similar ways, and the man at the center of it all hasn't faced justice. So here's the question that refuses to go away. Was this sloppy coincidence, or are we watching a much bigger pattern unfold in real time? Was David just in the wrong place at the wrong time, or was his entire persona a mask hiding something much darker? Let me know what you think, because the theories out there are getting more chilling by the day. And if this really is just the beginning, then what else is waiting to be uncovered?